A crucial component to stop motion animation is the frame rate. As discussed previously, stop motion is going frame by frame to create the illusion of motion. The frame rate is how fast one frame moves to the next and then to the next and so on. It is best described by how many frames are shown within a single second. That is why we say frames per second or FPS. Setting your frame rate is extremely important. How do you want your video to look? Too slow and the motion looks more like a slideshow, too fast and it can be disorienting. Not having a proper frame rate can also make the animation look jerky. There are many things to consider when choosing your frame rate. The first thing to consider is the pace of your film. How fast is your subject typically moving? Faster subjects may require a higher frame rate. This is because the range of motion may require more images. For example, if your subject is moving fast enough to travel a large distance quickly in one frame, you may need to double your FPS so that your subject doesn't look too jerky. So if your video is more action-oriented and quick-paced, then you might need a higher frame rate. If it's more dramatic and slow-paced, then you can probably use a lower frame rate. The next thing to consider is the size of your subject. Smaller subjects may require a lower frame rate. A small character like a Lego minifigure has a shorter range of motion than an 8-inch action figure. That 8-inch action figure's range of motion allows for a higher frame rate. This may seem counterintuitive since a smaller object like a Lego can be however big you'd like it to be on screen, but you have to consider how much you can make it move from frame to frame. In my experience, higher frame rates are a bit of a waste when it comes to smaller characters. Another thing to consider is how do you want your film to look? Nowadays, most video content being created is for streaming purposes. Streaming seems to work best with frame rates of 60 or any rate that can evenly divide into 60, like 30 or 15. But with cinema, it is traditionally filmed at 24 frames per second. So it's up to you. Would you like to create something that works within contemporary means at 60, 30, or even 15 frames per second? Or do you want to have a more cinematic look, which may or may not work as well on streaming platforms? My advice is to keep the frame rate as low as possible, while not sacrificing the illusion of motion. Maybe you can create something great at 15 frames per second, which is pretty standard for me. You may even get away with 12 frames per second, which I have seen. Just take these three things into consideration: how fast, how big, and what look. The section on storytelling may help you answer these questions. Hey guys, if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. You can also help support this channel through Patreon, which is linked down below. Thank you.